I am Cristel Jean C. Blanco and I will be reporting the last part for Chapter 5, Eliminating Gender Bias. Teacher-student interaction. Gender bias is present in classrooms. Teachers interact more with boys than with girls at all levels of schooling. So interaction is biased against boys, and here are some factors to consider. Complying, following rules, and being neat and orderly are valued and reinforced. A large majority of teachers are females. Boys are identified as having learning problems and more to be criticized. School personnel tend to stereotype boys' behavior as problematic. Classroom is biased against girls, and these are the following factors. For girls, girls are more compliant while boys are rambunctious. Girls quietly wait for their turn while boys demand more attention. Girls in middle school have lower self-esteem, and girls in elementary school are more in gifted programs, while boys in high school, they tend to be more on gifted programs. Curriculum content and athletic content. Schools have made considerable progress in reducing sexism and sex stereotyping in books and curriculum materials, largely in response to Title IX of the Educational Amendment Act of 1972, which states that schools must treat females and males equally. So, school now offers girls far more opportunities to take vocational educational courses and participate in athletics. In 1972, 7% of high school athletes were girls. Today, that figure has risen to nearly 40%. Sexual harassment. Girls can encounter sexual harassment in many different forms, ranging from sexist remarks and covert physical contact, like patting or brushing against bodies, to blatant propositions and sexual assaults. The U.S. Office of Civil Rights publishes a guide on sexual harassment. There are two types. First, the quid pro quo sexual harassment, which occurs when a school employee threatens to base an educational decision, such as grade, on a student's submission to unwelcome sexual conduct. Second is the hostile environment sexual harassment. Occurs when students are subjected to unwelcome sexual conduct that is so severe, persistent, or pervasive that it limits the student's ability to benefit from their education. Strategies for reducing gender bias. Every student, female or male, deserves an education free of gender bias. So here are some strategies for attaining this desirable educational climate. First, be aware that boys and girls are different from a very early age. Second, if you are given textbooks that are gender biased, discuss this with your students. Third, make sure that school activities and exercises are not gender biased. Fourth, analyze the seating chart in your classroom and determine whether there are pockets of gender segregation. Fifth, enlist someone to track your questioning and reinforcement patterns with boys and girls, or videotape your class so you can do this yourself. 6. Use non-biased language. 7. Keep up to date on sex equity on education. 8. Be aware of sexual harassment in schools and don't let it happen. There is gender bias in schools against boys and girls. Many school personnel are unaware of these biases. An important teaching strategy is to attempt to eliminate gender bias. Schools have made considerable progress in reducing gender stereotyping in books and curriculum materials, but some bias still exists. Sexual harassment is a special concern in schools and is more pervasive than once believed. Thank you for listening and God bless all.